Testing the chat, making sure that works. What's up, everyone? Here, how you guys doing? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor. We got a fun little evening plan today. We're going to be looking at some stocks this particular week, looking at what kind of happened in the past week, and then kind of going from there. We can look at the current futures kind of opening up. Not really too much to report there. Again, if there's anyone out there got any questions, go ahead and put in the little comment box down there. And if you're asking on a certain position size, please put it if you're long, short, or what your overall position is within the stock and so forth. That being said, what up, Al? Alan, sorry, LNS. Do you got any questions or anything? I'm just going to do a quick little overview while I start pinging the Discord chat, and then I'm also pinging to see if other folks want to join on and got any great questions. Going to be going through a couple content stuff. We're going to be going through some big earnings coming up. We got ZM coming up on Tuesday after the close, which is probably the biggest one. It's going to be coming out this week. That's kind of one that's kind of been on everyone's radar, potentially looking for a breakout or a breakdown. It's looking at near its high here soon, so we're just going to kind of chill with that and see how that all goes from there. Steve-O, what is your biggest YOLO play ever? I shorted Facebook put options 2 minutes before the close when it crashed, and I made about 4K. I only put down $200, so that was my biggest YOLO play. But again, that I can show you that on the chart. It was pretty. I couldn't sleep all night. I was like, it sounded terrible, but I was like, oh my god, like I just need Facebook to stay under 150, and I was making mad cash. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Makeshift player. Is the video not being shown? Or is it just the thumbnail? Okay, should be able to see the screen now, it looks like. I'm sorry. I had the little banner up. Something is wrong with like YouTube tonight. It's my my view count is at 0 on my screen here. I'm afraid to refresh if that resets anything. Well, Steve-O, wow, I blew my count from 4K to 200. Hey, been there, done that. It's good to be, I wouldn't say afraid, Steve-O, that it's just gotta be, you have to have the sense of knowing, of like, let's not risk and make YOLO plays. Again, I only bet $200 for my position size that was fairly small, and then I made that awesome return. Yeah. It's very difficult once the account gets below a certain threshold. Your brain honestly takes a mental toll in the sense of not being able to constantly just see your yearly percentage or your yearly profitability at like really red negative numbers. So my best advice would be potentially, sounds crazy, but I'm very, I won't say believe in it, but I think that it'd be best for you to potentially move the account, or just if there's any way to hide the P&L. It's because the P&L will get in your way. Like your predator or your monkey side of the brain is just going to be on that same sense of, I need to get that profit, need to get that profit. So the thing what happened with me is when I blew up my first account, that it was in my mindset, even though I had price targets out. So let's, for example, if I was trading Zoom stock and I got in here at like 160 and it popped up just a little bit to like 167, 168, and I made, I don't know, 5 to 10% of my money, I would get out immediately, just to take that little bit of profit. But for some reason, I was a complete imbecile and an idiot. If that same trade, if I bought it at 160 and it goes to 150, 145, I would hold it, and then I would sometimes even put more money into it. And that's kind of the thing. The best thing I've learned, and it's you have to learn this yourself. And Steve, it sounds like you have been burnt, so I can talk to you into this kind of uh, one-on-one conversation in the sense of I know the pain. Um, the best thing to do is to again set those principles that looking forth on an in and out as soon as the trade happens. So you take the emotions completely out of it. If you bought in Zoom at 160 and you're saying, okay, best case it goes up to 180, I'm out. For this, you have to make it if it's a trade or if it's a swing trade or if it's a day trade, you have to make that overall philosophy right at the beginning. So the example of if it's just a simple swing trade and you have price targets in, you're saying my out for good, bad, and the ugly. The good is if it hits 180 or whatever your target is. 160 if it goes below, let's say the 34 or the parabolic SAR switches over, you're out. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. You just have to get out. It was the Facebook. So if you remember, Facebook took a tank many years ago. Actually, it was this one right here. I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was their early quarters. It was after the overall issues with Facebook having the election stuff and all that stuff was coming out, and the different frauds of different countries and things like that. And I bought the 210 put, and it just printed me money because the stock price just fell so drastically. It was absolutely insane. I don't really do much day trading options. It's very few and far between that I'll be day trading options, honestly. I don't have the patience or to do that kind of stuff for day trading options. I don't have the mindset, I guess. I don't have the fortitude. I don't have that any kind of stuff to do that day trading stuff. Dyslexic bets, I do a little bit of both. I scalp, again, if I do scalp, I usually just do it on the overall industry. So if I do a day trade, it's usually going to be on like SPY or the Qs or some kind of overall index, and it's usually going to be to the short side. Or potentially if there's something news driven coming out, I'll do that. Ryan will look at AMD. I saw it 2 times. Thank you. Um, so basically, but more or less, I love to swing trade, so I like to let things work out slowly over time. By swing trading, it could be a week or two or so forth. Day trading, again, for me, it is difficult because my brain doesn't work very well with fast movement, and my emotions kind of get roused up with my anxiety, so I'm just not able to be patient enough and just be able to let the things work out, even though it has worked in the past 50% of the time. um, Ryan, let's go ahead and just jump in here. We got a couple folks here. Again, if you guys can hear everything out there, don't forget to like and subscribe. I definitely appreciate that. Love to hit that 3K marker tonight. AMD. So, full disclosure, Ryan, AMD is currently on my options agenda. It has shown some strength here the last couple days. I kind of bought it here looking for I actually sold some puts here. So I'm a little more conservative. I'm not buying YOLO calls here. I didn't load up on the 55 call here for next month to pop off. I think I just sold some puts around 50 or 51 here for potential kick higher. Due to the fact of the parabolic SAR is still below it, it did close above the 21, which is great for my understanding. And then the TTM squeeze down here is kind of building up for a potential pop off or pop higher. And this is also kind of included with the momentum. This kind of green arrow, I don't honestly always trust the arrow. It just means it's breaking. It broke that day, like it's breaking to go positive. So it's positive momentum going higher. The RSI is trying to curl up, and same with the volume oscillator. If you're looking, Ryan, I don't know how long your calls or whatever you're doing in AMD, you can see here on the weekly chart, it came down to that 21 and held very wonderfully. I don't know if that's a word, but it sounds fantastic. And it also, on the weekly side, there's a huge squeeze building up here. We're just kind of waiting for the momentum and RSI to kick higher. Looking honestly to a pretty big move to $60 potentially in the next coming weeks. Oh, okay. So you did the same thing I did. Nice. That's awesome, yeah. Jordan77, what do you think of DKNG? That's DraftKings. So I don't. Did you see my video on that there, Jordan? Is that where you're asking? Jordan77. So looking at this again, we kind of have that overall this box around it for potential movement within the options, what the options chain is predicting. But again, this is only predictions. The predictions are kind of toilet paper-ish. You can wipe your you know what with it. It could potentially move higher or lower without a doubt. I think the momentum is still pretty substantial in this. Again, this is a very difficult stock to do a lot of technical analysis on the sense of what, because there's only been trading for less than about a month, and a lot of the indicators really haven't gone up on it. So what I like to do, I like to break it down to a little bit of different time frame. I'm going to look at the 4-hour. So this is what kind of got me into the stock. I believe I made that video, is that Thursday? Wednesday or Thursday is when I bought in, and I had a pretty huge gap up. It was like around 35, 36 when we got in. And then it took, no, there's no way it was that day. Maybe it was. Maybe it was Thursday morning we got into it. So we got in we sold some puts. No, actually, I'm sorry. This was in the other trading account. We bought calls on this. We bought the $40 call that was expiring, I believe, a month or 45 days out. I forget what they had on the chart here. I think we bought the 10 July for the $40 call. I think we paid, yeah, we paid a pretty hefty penny for those. I actually want to move this back to open interest. I like that better. So that's basically that. Again, I don't know what you're looking for in the options market. Again, this thing is basically it's very story driven and headline driven. I think once we start seeing a lot of the sports kind of coming back online, this is pretty phenomenal. I think. Again, it's been riding the 8 and 5 exponential moving average for quite some time and just kind of bouncing around. And looking for that to continue, honestly. Looking for 40 to close above 40 tomorrow and potentially higher. Yeah, there's a lot of activity on the 40 call. I think the one that we outlined that someone went crazy on was the June 40 call, where it had 12,000 open interest. So that's pretty substantial amount of open interest on a single contract, with a lot more being around 50 and 45. So you can kind of see like a pattern here. There's the 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. There's huge increments of these call options at around every $5 wide. So these could be call spreads, these could be butterflies, these could be all different kinds of things on what people are trading here. So it could be there's something going on here. It kind of caught my attention whenever someone in the Discord chat pointed it out. I said that seems strange. Let me look into it. And then I was like, oh, that's DraftKings. It's definitely a high momentum stock. I think the FOMO hasn't kicked in completely yet because we haven't seen a day that has had a pretty substantial mark here. Let's go. Let's move this here. Let's put it back to a 4-hour. Oh, not this chart. Sorry. Yeah, we're not seeing a crazy day where we're looking at like 4 or 5 times the average volume down here. So this is the average volume. Again, it's on a 4-hour chart. So we're looking at nearly, we had a pretty big pop-off day on that Thursday that kind of caught our attention at 35, 36. But then it's been kind of somewhat stagnant and with still mostly green days and potentially trying to kick higher. Again, looking for the $40 price at or above for tomorrow and for the rest of the week. Steve-O, what does it stand for the TTM squeeze? I don't know what TTM stands for, but the squeeze is a indication that was created by a gentleman named John Carter that it uses the Bollinger Bands and the Keltner channels contracting for a potential move higher or lower. Oh, you made some money in the last. Nice, nice, nice. Steve-O, what's your best time frame for swing trading, 4-hour chart or day? I always go everything to the daily chart, Steve-O, and 4-hour chart is kind of like a swing trading chart as well. Everything is grounded at the daily chart. What do you think about Ford? Ford, they kind of came back this week, didn't they? They had a nice little poppy. Yeah, kind of little fade there. I know it's kind of a lot of people bottom fished at this one because it kind of was kind of building a base down here and kind of had that, again, that squeeze building up here for it to potential pop higher or lower. Again, the squeeze just indicates that there's a lot of consolidation, rubber bands are contracting, and we could get a burst higher or lower. With the momentum trying to go higher, with the RSI trying to go higher, volume oscillator going higher, it was triggering to the long side. Potentially, again, these are just potentials. We never know without a doubt. That being said, Ford is looking pretty substantial. It's above the 21, the 5, 8, and 21, and 34 exponential moving averages are fairly nicely stacked. It looks like we're getting a little bit of a sell-off here the last Thursday into Friday. Nothing too drastic, but we have to kind of let maybe this whole move the past week and a half, it looks like, kind of needs to kind of settle off and kind of get a little break here and kind of just trade sideways potentially. There's going to be a lot of weight on this stock for sure with a lot of people trading this for sure. I think it's one of the top trades for Robinhood holdings. That being said, again, there's going to be a lot of resistance on the way up. Definitely at the $7 level, we need to see a lot more things coming through. Let's go here to a weekly chart here, and it's kind of just, it has been beaten up. I wouldn't say Ford's down and out, but it has been in a downtrend for the last couple of years, not getting anywhere near above the 21 or the 200 exponential moving average, which is the teal line up here, and it's just been just trading blah and going down. Having that really bad quarter into February with overall pandemic just took a lot of things down. Needs to kind of break above, again, on the weekly chart around 624 to kind of break out and break above the 21. It has failed multiple times trying to get above the 21 here, here, and here. It really just needs to kind of build a better base and make its overall push higher. Or Mr. G. Roberts, what software is this? This is called Thinkorswim, my friend. All right, that's Alan. Michael Lane, thoughts on Sony for calls or Chegg for puts? Sony is SNE. I haven't looked at that one forever. Let's take a wiki-loo for it. Yeah. Interesting. I like it. So are you trying to play the overall announcement of the PlayStation 5 or whatever? Like, what is the breakdown? What is the overall revenue for the PlayStation 5 out of the whole Sony's yearly revenue? This is interesting. Looking at it's kind of breaking out here. It's going to have some resistance here at 65.50 due to it has to kind of switch these parabolic SAR dots have to switch to the bottom of it, but it's been kind of a tight range. I think once we get some kind of announcement saying, hey, PlayStation 5 is coming out in 2020, which I don't know what that time frame honestly is, that we could see a pop off higher here. It's going to be slightly news driven due to that. I'm surprised that it's not higher. Excuse me, due to the fact that a lot of people are at home and want to game and things like that. But I'm guessing that a lot of folks are just kind of waiting to let things play out to hear about the new system. So that's my opinion on that. Again, you're going to have a lot of support here around the 200. So it's going to be around $61, $61.50 to be precise, is the 200 exponential moving average. And a lot of things have already crossed through it. So you're in the red teal line here. It's actually this 50 simple moving average, and that has already crossed through it. So that is a potential sign for it to go higher as well. Again, we just need the parabolic SAR to go over. We need the momentum down here to kind of turn positive. We're currently looking at negative 0.08. It's looking fairly well. Like, it's, again, put risk to reward to it. Like, if it starts breaking lower and getting below 62, 61.50, you have to potentially get out, depending on what level you're in and what you're doing. So that's that. Let's see. Oh, Lord. Okay, let's see here. Steve, you're welcome. Hello, I bought some space calls last week in anticipation of SpaceX launch. I think they are for 60 bucks. What do you think? You're with Dan. Dan, we are actually also we're not in stock, I don't think. We are in, yeah, we're in stock in space. I think it should go higher too. Again, I'm not sure if anyone watched all the awesomeness of SpaceX and NASA working together and took 2 astronauts into space, docked with the International Space Station. They're just hanging out, having a cup of tea, and probably I think they're taking off and gonna be landing back tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. I'm not 100% sure, but interesting stuff for sure. This did get some flack over the last couple weeks due to Richard Branson selling quite a bit substantial of his shares to pay for his other businesses, which it wasn't. That's somewhat reasonable, I guess. It's nothing crazy, but a lot of people kind of spun it in a negative way, like, whatever. It's kind of just been trading sideways, and that's kind of what we took the bet on. It kind of came back to this 200-day exponential moving average, and that's when we bought back in. Again, that 200-day was around $15. Potentially, that's going to be the first level of support. Resistance is going to be around 18, 16, and then after that, it'd be around 20 to 21 for a potential pop higher. Because if we're just kind of squeezing through here, we want the 5 and 8 exponential moving average to kind of cut through the 21 and potentially move higher. This is kind of showing some strength with momentum trying to curl up an RSI as well, and there's no squeeze currently in play, so there's nothing to report there. Yeah, Johnny Bravo, yeah, they sold quite a bit. Maybe you want to check out space and nearly. Yeah, I think the space is going to be the companies that are getting into space will be the first. Elon is going to be probably the first trillionaire. I'm not a betting. Actually, I'm a betting man. I think Elon Musk is going to be the first trillionaire. Or someone to do something with space. If Bezos has his little blue orbital kind of project, so we'll see what he does. Oh, you're doing the June 5th, 18. So you're just betting really short term, Dan. Okay. So if you're just looking for a short term gain, I think you're pretty. I wouldn't say anything safe. Again, no crystal ball. I don't have that ability yet. But looking for potential pop higher, I think that's somewhat reasonable, unless the overall other economic news comes out that breaks everything down. What do you think about buying puts on W, Kelly D. So W is Wayfair, I believe. And that's in kind of it kind of had a fantastic quarter. Like it totally popped off. I know a lot of people wanted to get shorted, but it kind of ran up the next 3 or 4 or 5 days after that. Then kind of starts selling off. But you see here, Kelly, I don't know if what you're looking at the daily chart. It's really holding the 21. So it hasn't really broken through the 21. It hasn't closed below 21. The 5 and 8 haven't crossed through the 21, and it kind of looks like it's somewhat recovering from the 21. So it could potentially, rather say a bounce to potentially test. We can kind of look here on, again, I don't normally like to do this, but we can kind of look at this. Kind of just showing you the power of Fibonacci retracements from the swing high from a couple days ago to the swing low just a couple days ago, or a couple weeks ago to a couple days ago. It literally hit the 618 retracement here at 177.26 and failed. So identifying that, hey, this is going to be some overhead resistance from this previous swing high to swing low, and it kind of came down to the 50% retracement. So this is actually at a pretty key level looking forth on going forth. I said like 13 times there. But the parabolic SR has switched. Again, I'm going to look for support basically at 155, 156 here at the 21 exponential moving average for sure. But again, with the 5 and 8 kind of coming into the rescue to kind of give it some support, could potentially kick higher here with the volume oscillator also going higher. Momentum's trying to kick above 0, so that could be a pretty substantial push again. Again, with the overall markets up, this is most likely going to be up as well. I hope that helped you there, Kelly D. Sitting on the 155 shares, debating if I should sell calls this week if I was going to explore due to SpaceX launch. Johnny, you were asking about space. Okay. Yeah, I think I love space long term, honestly. Something tells me that the insurance stocks or the body cam stocks are going to be going up, going to the moon. Maybe, again, with all the stuff that's going on in the major cities, I forget what Taser, it's not even Taser anymore, the company. I forget what they're trading under. I can't, is someone able to Google that for me? You're welcome. Do you have any action in any airlines? Jordan at 77, I don't, but what I like to look at, because I don't like to bet on everything, because I think there is no secret sauce in a lot of the airlines. Some are better than others, but overall with everyone just being literally on the same playing field of having no flights and travel being super restrictive and no one really going anywhere, I think just looking at JETS, which is the ETF for all the airlines that here, it is trying to pop off. It's above its 21. The 5, 8, and 8, 21 are nicely stacked. Again, looking for it holding around $14.15, $14 to continue trading sideways or going higher. For a breakout, it's going to be a little bit like there's nothing going to be. Let me do some quick fibs here for you. Hang on, let me do this. Swing high to swing low. And of course, it did not connect to the top. This one right here. There we go. So it's kind of broke above the 23.6 percentile move. Again, that's nothing substantial. Potentially want to see it above $20 here for basically some potential higher highs. Again, it's going to be tied to a lot to the overall markets opening up, or the overall economies opening up, and people being able to fly more things. What plays can you make results of the riots? Augustin, I don't know, honestly. I don't want to play that because I think that's just going to be such a short, temporary thing, and it's just going to be a FOMO side of things. You could be a potential of shorting of things if you're talking about that. So looking at people coming Monday, Tuesday, most likely Monday, if the gun stocks, which I don't know any off the top of my head, honestly, that's been a long time since I've touched those. And then that Taser one, I always forget the name of that one. I think someone just posted it. What's the ticker symbol? Is it ANTD? Is that it? It's like an ant. Oh no, it's American trade. What is the ticker symbol? Yeah, Gil Roberts. I think it's something like that. I forget the name of it. But we'll see. If you're like, again, I wasn't ready for talking about that stuff. That could be literally a FOMO trade where everyone's like, oh, everyone's gonna hit the fan. Like, let's just buy our guns and ammo. Like, it's a pretty much Johnny Bravo RGR. Is that RGR? What is that? A Rogue or okay? Yeah, those have been going up ever since. AAXN. I think that's the one I'm talking about. That's the. Okay, yeah, this is the one. So this one is probably one to watch for tomorrow. So we're actually going to look at this. Low-end support is going to be here around the 70 level, which I don't think it's going to go there. Again, I don't know much about this business, so we'll look at it, and we have to kind of break out above 80 here, just call it 79. For potential trade, let's see how this reacts. You kind of have to sit on your hands. Is this the one? Yeah, okay. So I always forget, because I know they changed the name, the Taser. It was Taser. I think it was like TZR, I believe. Because I traded that a lot back in the day. That was a crazy momentum stock. That being said, here this has kind of been somewhat dormant. It has had some pretty swing highs and lows. It had looks like a fantastic quarter and kind of just trailed off. The RSI is really high up here, so this really has to break the top band here to kind of start shorting it. This is going to be a difficult one for sure, but we'll look at, I'm going to add this one to my fantastic watch list here, which you're able to, I'll share with you if you join the Patreon. Yeah, you don't have to. That being said, we can go, it's going to be a difficult one. This is the one you're going to have to sit on and wait. Kind of want to look at this a little bit longer term. Yeah, it's interesting. It looks like it wants to kick higher, honestly. On the weekly chart, the consolidation here, it really wants to pop off higher. It looks pretty much like it wants to break and get above the $79 to $80 level potentially. C1 Ton Soup. What do you think about DGLY? What is that? Is that Dollar General? Oh, that's Dollar General. Oh, it's a dollar stock. I can't. Digital Alley Inc. Yeah, sorry, my friend. I don't trade these stocks because it looks like this is going to be heavily momentum based on the sense of what's happening. It's very hard to chart this because this is going to be very much day trading criteria, and I sadly don't have the patience or the complete nerves to do day trading and this kind of stuff. So I apologize there. C1 Ton Soup. David says puts on insurance companies. I don't know. Like that's kind of a little far fetched maybe. It's not my kind of trade. Johnny Bravo, thank you, my friend. Kelly D, you're welcome. Thanks to everyone who put out the AAXN, so we'll look at that one for sure coming in tomorrow. Totally Piggy says, okay, okay. It took a little bit for people to get to Tesla. Oh, why is it not typing? TSLA. What do you think about Tesla going under 700? If that's inverse 700, I don't. You're saying Tesla? You think Tesla will go under 700 after it's in conclusion? It's in position. I think it doesn't have to get into the S&P 500. It has to have 6 profitable quarters. I'm kind of questioning that. I think it needs quite substantially a lot of ongoing quarters to be profitable, and it has to meet some other criteria. I'm not an expert in that as well. I would have to Google it, honestly. I Google a lot of things. God, my Google history is probably Pretty crazy. With Tesla, I kind of made a video maybe a week ago where I was going long Tesla into the overall launch of things, and I still stand behind that. I think that Tesla is going to be a pretty large move tomorrow. Um, yes, Swag King, I saw that. The futures are filling a gap. They were down, what, like 20, 30 points at one point, and then they're kind of making a comeback. Oh, sorry, I kind of, again, got sidetracked, sorry. That being said, so going back to Tesla, I think anything can happen with Tesla without a doubt. So they can completely crash and come down without a doubt. Um, the 21 exponential moving average has been a fairly steady line for them. Like 3 days ago, they hit it, and kind of bounced higher. A lot of companies actually hit the 21 exponential moving average and kind of bounced higher as well on the 21 on the daily chart. We have kind of seen it here a couple times since the overall move here. The 21 is kind of filling the gap here. By filling the gap, I mean it's getting closer and closer to the 5 and 8 exponential moving average, meaning one or two things: that the 5 and 8 and the overall price could shoot up higher, or that we could be trading sideways, and if things kind of turn sour with the overall markets or whatever, that it could be correction mode and kind of getting back down to some certain key levels. Again, first level support is being around 790, and then we have another one at 770 or 770, and then we're going to be looking at around 708 for potential support there going forth. But nothing too stressful yet on Tesla stock there. Johnny Bravo, OLM makes ammunition, etc., owns Winchesters and plays a nice dividend. I feel ahead of his precision guns in March. Let's look at that one. Why is it a type? That sucks, man. This owns Winchester rifles? Okay, let me take a drink of water. It's been a terrible downtrend. Like, this would be one. So this one looks like it wants to pop off. Like, you can see here the last 2 days, Thursday, Friday, it's kind of building consolidation for a potential kick higher. So we're going to do here a quick analysis here, and I'm going to be pretty straightforward with this. I think it can get up to 1417. That's the first level of it has to kind of break that. So I think that, again, what I did there was a swing high to swing low. This, again, is a very short time frame. This is going to be a very quick swing trade. Looking for, again, what is the story behind it? The story is people are somewhat afraid. People are looking at the overall stuff that's going on in LA, Chicago, Philadelphia, Minneapolis, and all this stuff, and they want to get protection or gear up or whatever the word or terminology. I don't know anything about that industry. For a potential kick higher to like the $14 level, by keeping on a fairly short leash because the overall daily chart is still on a downward trend. And let's look at the weekly side. That's been on a downward trend for years, literally hitting a high here in 18 and just been trading down and lower from there. Ryan AM. Oh, I did actually miss that one. I typed it in and I got sidetracked. I'm sorry, Ryan. My brain is totally a little kooky today. I apologize, my friend. TD Ameritrade, they have earnings. They had earnings. Okay. With so many people opening up accounts, aka people watching this channel, loving their Thinkorswim, looking at this. This is literally just a crazy roller coaster ride of just drop-offs and loop-de-loops and more drop-offs and just building bases here. Initially, looking at this support here, very low price at 36. We can add that here, $36, and then a potential ongoing resistance. I'm going to call it at 40, but a lot of overhead resistance at 42. Hopefully that helps you there, Ryan. I'm not sure what you're in that position. Nothing too really to report on the RSI momentum or anything. There's nothing really popping off there. On a weekly side of things, it's just kind of been beaten up, and it failed here at the 21 two times. Again, we need to see it above the 39 level and close above the 21 on the weekly side. Hopefully that helped you. MFA Financial repeat of 2009 or bankruptcy. Also, thanks for the content. It's great work. Keep it up. You're welcome. MFA. What is that? A stock? Okay. So I'm not sure what they track here. So I don't know what this company does. Again, it's a probably it sounds like it's a financial company, and I normally don't really. I'll swing trade banks, but I don't invest in a lot of banks because I don't know what the hell they do. Like I want to be straight with you. It's I want to say they're crooks, but they're kind of crooks. They I think they really prey on people that don't know how to understand money and things like that. That's why you see me trading my own IRA, my own options trading account, and my short-term trading account, my swing trading accounts, and things like that, where I still don't trust other financial people to do it. I think I could do a better job, and I have the last 2 or 3 years. I did blow up a couple accounts that Steve and I have talked about at the beginning of the chat, but you live and you learn, right? Um, Hanging up 7%. My EWH calls are feeling smart right now. What is E? Is that something like a international Hong Kong? Okay, so I'm guessing you're playing the riots over there in Hong Kong. Uh, we'll see here. I think. Well, I don't. Do I have the Hong Kong exchange? I always forget the futures market for that. I don't think I do. No, I don't. No, I only have the U.S. stuff. I should probably start getting out of the Hong Kong exchange on there. This one's just kind of been beaten up here as well. It's below the 21, so the 5 and 8 kind of have to start building a base here, potentially kind of getting above 20 for initial to show me some life here. Again, it's pretty clear here on the downward support it's going to be below like 1950. So if you're trading this, if it goes below 1950, I wouldn't want to touch it because it's basically going to go to unknown territory, and then basically kind of call for a potential getting up to the $20 level for those calls. And those calls usually don't cost that much, so be very careful out there, my friend. Patel says your thoughts on Twitter and FB with their executive orders. They kind of got hit, didn't they? Twitter is I haven't touched this in forever. WTR, yeah. I think it's a new world that we're living in for sure. Like, I'm not a big fan of Twitter. I've tried to use Twitter in the past. Again, trying to put myself in the sense of using this product, and I don't really. A lot of people love it or they hate it, honestly. Looking at this potentially to bounce. Again, with Twitter looking strictly at the chart, not talking, I don't care about politics or whatever the underlining is. Whatever the politic or executive order went in place or signed, it kind of took effect to it. You can see it here in a downward day with everything kind of the last 2 or 3 days of the week went up. Twitter definitely went down. Looking at support here at 21, which is around $30, with the RSI still below, momentum still on the positive. RSI is kind of coming down to basically just quiet and nothing to report mode. On the weekly side, I just don't like Twitter because it's more of a vehicle to trade rather than to kind of invest in, because it hasn't been going up to the right. It's just been trading sideways. So if you're getting in a nice swing trade or working out over a week or two or longer for a nice ride up, I think it's well worthy. But for me, it's not an investment. And then for Facebook, we can look at there as well. Again, kind of fell off the last 2 or 3 days. Had a fantastic quarter. Has been running up like gangbusters since then. For potential moves higher, breaking to all-time highs at 240, and then kind of selling off there. It nearly hit the RSI overbought limit, which it kind of basically did, and it hit like 77, 78 here. I have mine set at 80, so if it really hit that line up there, it would have been triggered for me for a potential move lower. With Facebook again, you're going to see support here around the 215 level, unless everything just hits the fan, the S hits the F. We're going to see some further downside consolidation. I just don't see that happening for a potential move higher. I think we're just going to be trading sideways, and we'll see what happens from there. Ryan, 619 $50 calls for FR. Wish me luck. Why are you throwing your money away, man? Why you gotta save that money? What does Little Dicky say? Save that money. That's a rapper. If you guys not familiar with Little Dicky. Let's see here. I don't even know what this company does, but let's look at, this is pretty ripe for some fibs. It looks like it's going to fail around the 618 for sure. Yeah, it's basically around the 618 percentile move. Having a lot of overhead pressure here at the 200-day as well. Trying to break above that and close above it is going to be a pretty significant push with the RSI or the parabolic SAR still above it. We kind of want that to switch over. It looks like it wants to break out. Again, is there anything momentumly about this that you're bidding on this? I'm not sure what this company does. I've never heard of it. But we'll see. I think this one, it's with the 21 being pretty strong support. If you're getting into, you said you bought the 619 $50 calls. That's not outlandish. I'm sure that's within the trading range. You said you bought the 619, so you got 20 days-ish left. The $50 calls. It's pretty close to being in the money. They're $5 wide strikes. Yeah, anything can happen, but I would rather have you seen like the $40 or $45 call. I know those cost more. Yeah, I'm not gonna, that's all I got on that one. Steve-O, AMT, was American Tower, which was one of my recommendations, and they worked out very well. If you guys recall that, I did a video on 7 or 8 swing trade ideas for the next weeks, and this one was on one of them for a potential kick higher, and I said it's like a really nice dividend stock as well. So for those dividend folks out there, take on that. LRXC, that is land, no, it's not land research. What is that? I don't know what that is actually. LRCRC, I don't see that. It's not loading for me there, my friend. Who is that? Steve-O, I'm not loading. URI, United Rentals. I remember this. I actually got burnt on this stock way back in the day, so I kind of have a little negative spot for this guy. That being said, it looks pretty strong here. It looks like it wants to, it's well above its 200-day. It looks like it's kind of trading sideways. We want the 21 to kind of break through the 200-day for a potential move higher. This is a good sign, again, with the overall economy kicking back up, a lot of stuff moving higher and potentially trying to move upward to the right. A lot of it's holding the 5 and 8 exponential moving average. Looks like a lot of momentum's behind it. Momentum's still high. Nothing on the squeeze to report. RSI is fairly high. Could go higher, and the volume oscillator looks great. And the weekly chart looks really strong. The 5 and 8 are looking to go. 5 has already crossed over. The 8's about to cross over, which could propel this quite higher. We can kind of look at some fibs here for some resistance. Yeah, so it's hitting the 618 right here. Needs to close above the 140 level. Closed, it doesn't mean it has to break above it. It can break it, but it needs to close above it. So close is what all matters to me. You got to close that deal. Ryan does FLIR does thermal cameras. Oh, okay, cool. For government civilians. Why do civilians need thermal cameras? Like hunting or something? Okay. AMD, Chris, Johnny Bravo, thank you, that means a lot. Chris says AMD, we kind of did AMD, didn't we? I'll do it again for you, my friend. AMD. So, again, we are in this one. We kind of bought the dip. We didn't do what Warren Buffett from Wall Street Bets said there. Uh, there, my friend. Uh, Looking for a potential move higher. The squeeze is setting up nicely. Momentum's trying to kick higher. RSI is trying to kick higher. Volume also is trying to kick higher. So potential, again, you kind of see my averages here. We are long calls and options on this. I think we sold some puts as well. No, sorry, this is the one I always get confused. We sold puts on this one, and we are long some stock, I believe. I have to flip over the account. But that being said, the stock is longer term. The options are probably 30 to 40 days out. Selling those puts around the 50 or 51 level, looking for basically the 50 simple moving average. That's the red teal line to kind of be support around 51, and then we want to look for a break around 56 that potentially try to 60 there, Chris. Steve-O, it's LC. Oh, LC, okay. LCRX. Oh, I'm silly. Okay. LC. You say LCR. Keyboards. Am I not right? LCRX. I don't see it, my friend. Go back to the futures here. Futures are printing positive here now, looking higher for the, again, the futures market has been just trading between the 5 and 8 days, which moving average is fantastic. Thank you for hitting that like, I appreciate it. The dyslexic one. Yeah, everyone drop a like. Appreciate it, Steve-O. Thank you. I think you or I needed to come back to 21 for a possible longer higher. Yep. Johnny Bravo, least we can do for him is toss a like. I greatly appreciate. Yeah, I'm not trying to sell a course here. I really not. I don't have the time to do that. I want to. I just want to help people. So I should make a video to kind of underline why I'm doing this. It's, for myself to become a better trader. I like to engage with other traders and investors, and I kind of just wanted to build a community around that, and at the same time, kind of not help people get to profitability or consistency. That's something they have to figure out on their own, honestly. And there's nothing that I could sell you or help you to get there. I can kind of give you some roadmaps. I just can't give you a 1 through 10 course to tell you to do something. I hope that makes sense. This might sound a little cringe, but we'll see how that goes. Is it spinning? Uh-oh. Did my live stream go down? Uh-oh. Are we back? Looks like we're back. Everyone okay out there? Test, test. Got a little blimp there. Did everything go okay there? I think we just had a blip there in this chat. I'm sorry. Alright. Hit kind of right in the perfect spot, too. It's giving me a little sentimental chat, and then my whole thing just crashed on me. I'm sorry about that. Okay, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Ryan. So, well, I don't know where I was at. Oh, I was talking about why I do this. Yeah, it's fun. Like, I do the Wall Street Bet stuff to kind of understand, to give people a perspective on charting and options and things like that. It's just a fun thing to do. I'm not just trying to come out here and collect people's who are learning how to trade money. That's not my go-to thing. I've signed up for classes, and it worked for some people, but again, I can't give you a course that tells you how to do things. You have to really experience it. You have to be like myself, and I want to throw you out there on the bus, Steve-O, as well as myself. You have to kind of lose money and really feel the different perspectives of what the market can do and can give and take. So having that give and take mentality and being through multiple different cycles and all that kind of stuff. I know that sounds overwhelming and probably just a little too much information for some folks, that you really have to experience a lot. So not saying you have to be in front of the screen for 8 hours a day, but you have to kind of be in tuned and within the market and kind of follow the news and be somewhat dedicated to it. I thank you everyone for all the love. I really do appreciate it. Steve, I keep getting it wrong. LR. Okay, my chat just loaded back. LRCX. We got, okay. Yeah, I was right. Did I say land research? Man, I got you. I got you, man. I got you. So, this thing looks, I like this. It looks really interesting. It's kind of been trading sideways here, basically. I kind of want to pop over this chart here. Yeah, I'm just going to say here, it needs to break above this 282. Yeah, let's go back here. Yeah, 282 here. And then again, support around the 21 was my 262 there. So if that gets down to the 262, you want to 68 that plate, if you know what I mean. Potentially could go lower. Again, I think Land Research, if I remember right, is in the chip business and a lot of RAM, I believe. They do a lot of computing parts and microprocessing chips, if I remember right. And they are, again, with AMD and all those other chip makers, should be fairly well. Is there a black screen right now? No way. Are you lying to me? Alpha path. Okay, never mind. It's fixed. Okay. Come on, man. Don't do that to me. Pacific Gas and Electric California approved their bankruptcy plan by calls. I don't. This is something that you probably have to follow the news more for the. So you're buying the calls here. So are they, again, I don't know what's going on with their bankruptcy plan. Are they looking for consolidation, or are we looking for, are they have to sell anything? Are they under some kind of limits? Like, with bankruptcy stuff, I usually don't like to touch it because it's a lot of, I don't know what's going on here kind of situation, so I don't like to touch those, honestly. Kelly D. SWK. That's Skywork. Oh no, Stanley Black & Decker. Huh. I didn't even know they were I thought they were bought by someone. Huh. Interesting. I honestly thought they were bought many years ago. I didn't know they were still up there. Okay, this is not what I clicked there. There we go. And just pop that thing up there. Again, Kelly, I think you've seen it here multiple times. Stanley Black & Decker, pretty much hitting that 618 percentile move here from the swing high to swing low, basically lining up with the 200 exponential moving average. Really needs to break out above this line here. Support's going to be coming around 118 for a potential move higher. Looks like it pays a pretty substantial dividend at 69 cents. That's a pretty nice dividend for a 125 stock. It looks like it could bounce due to the fact that the volume oscillator down here is kind of hitting the yellow line. It could bounce up to the green line. The momentum is high, in the positive. The squeeze hasn't turned light or dark blue yet, or yellow or red when it goes below. And then RSI has been fairly high at 60 and could be turning higher. Oh, Stanley. Okay, okay. They always buy everyone else up. Okay, maybe I misread the article that I read then on what came out from that. So that's basically my overall look at that. Let me look at the. Yeah, that's interesting. Like, it hasn't really performed that well in the last 3 years or so. It's kind of been blah. Um, it's going to be difficult for me to buy that long term, so be careful with that. Definitely, there's a trading opportunity in there, but just not for me. Ryan says Waste Management is looking fantastic for a boomer stock. Well, call me a boomer then, Ryan, because Waste Management is one of my largest holdings for my long-term portfolio. Because when I bought this years ago, meaning like 10 years ago, looking at the weekly, this is a weekly, let's go to a weekly, like a monthly chart here. I think we bought this in like 15 or something like that, maybe way before. No, we bought that, like, I rolled this onto so many accounts I don't even know. Looking for a potential move higher for sure. So with this wonderful waste management, this is going to be tied to looking at move higher above the 200 exponential moving average here. So we kind of need to see a breakout above 107. The squeeze has been indicated. The dividends is coming up, so be careful, be mindful of that. Don't buy any calls or puts within the money within around that expiration. Again, looking really strong. This is going to be clearly tied to the overall economy for a potential kick higher. DocuSign and Slack. Slack. We can look at work. Is DocuSign? What's the DocuSign? You can look at oh, that didn't spell work right. L7K. So work is basically one of the ones that we have within our pandemic / work from home menu or watch list that I shared with my Patreon folks that we've been watching and keep an eye on pretty substantially, looking for a kick higher here, and it's literally tied to the overall success from people just being able to work from home, remote, and be able to get their job done using Slack. If you haven't used it before, it's pretty fantastic. And I'm surprised on how much they give away for free. Like, literally the free version is pretty substantial, and then some people pay an upgrade to get some more archiving and creating and not being able to hold longer chat sessions and things like that. Really great product. Use it quite a bit. Love it. That being said, in the stock, you have here the $35.79 is where my target was from this swing high to swing low, and it's been riding up pretty strong into earnings. I think they report earnings on Thursday, I believe. That's the 4th. No, wait a minute. It's not coming up the 4th, is it? Click on it, please. Please hover. 6/4. Okay, so it's coming out. Okay, this is May still, my bad. Yeah, it's coming out Thursday. This is going to be a potential big move. Again, it looks like a lot of people are buying into having a fantastic quarter and potentially getting a nice boost into earnings. If anyone knows, I'm not a big fan of trading options into earnings, so let's be very mindful of that and be very careful when you're trying to decide on getting into those calls, because it has run up quite a bit here. It just literally moved 7%. If I remember right, everyone who's trading work, aren't they filing some kind of lawsuit against Microsoft? Or I didn't understand that article. They're saying that Microsoft Teams is just taking advantage of something, or something they're doing something inappropriate, they're saying. DocuSign, which is it? I have that on here somewhere. Where is that? There it is, right here. So we traded this one back in the day. I owned the stock at like 50 or something like that, maybe below that. Where did I own that? Like, yeah, it was 75, 74. And it's been taken off. Again, this is actually another one stock that is on the Patreon work from home / pandemic, watch list. And this has been fantastic. Like, I can't give any really great advice because earnings is coming up as well. It's hitting at all-time high as of Friday. We just kind of need to sit on our hands and wait because it's going to be hard to looking for. It's just been riding up the 21 exponential moving average. So if I would look at this, probably the options market sucks on this. not having that much volatility. It looks like they're trading $5. Oh, it's January. Okay. Looks like there is actually quite a bit of activity. My bad. So that's not too bad. Looks like quite a bit of open interest, quite a bit of volume, more than I thought. Again, that could just be tied to earnings. But this thing looks like it wants to take off and go to the moon. It looks really strong. Let's do makeshift player and Jkosh, say Roku. Oh, I'm sorry, Roku Matt 24129. Love that name. That is so cool. That Roku. So actually, we are in Roku as well. We are in puts though. I mean, selling puts, so we are long Roku. And that was due to the fact that it actually went further down than we wanted it because we wanted to kind of keep it above 106. I needed to stay above 106. I actually needed to stay at above 100. I think that's where the put we sold in a couple days ago was. For a potential move higher. It kind of did kind of thing we don't like to see is the 5 and 8 cross through the 21 and kind of trading down well below. But we kind of looked at it like if it breaks the 200, we want to buy or we wanted to sell some puts due to the fact that the 200 would be a pretty substantial line in the sand. It did break that, but it didn't completely break down and start selling big red candles further lower. Pretty much just kind of trading sideways here. Again, looking for potential, trying to kick higher. It did just have the squeeze here, and it fired low. Again, it's on its probably tail end, lack of a better words, on this selling to kind of start leveling off because the volume also is trying to kick higher. The momentum's kind of been still negative, but it's kind of flattened out and it might be potentially trying to curl higher. So again, looking at initial support, it has this huge gap here at 101 to 97-ish, which it could try to come down to fill this. That's my only concern here because sometimes stocks are attracted to this with this huge squeeze that's kind of fired short with the 5 and 8 still below 21, and then the 21 looks like it kind of going to cross through the 200, not really looking for a potential. It's not going to pop off because there's no earnings in place. Thank you, Ryan, for letting me drink some water. I totally forget about it. I can rant and rave for hours about stocks. Let's see here. Kelly D says GRMN. Is that Garmin? No, is that that POTS? It's Garmin, okay. I thought it was GH something PH. We'll look at. So Garmin has. I like Garmin stuff. Like their technology is just wonderful, and they do so many different things that a lot of people don't even know. Especially for aircrafts and a lot of boats, devices, and with their satellites. That being said, this one looks really strong. Like it is breaking above the 200-day exponential moving average. 5 and 8 are crossing through it. 21 is trying to trail and try to get through the 200 as well. I'm not sure what happened here. This looks really good here. Unless they came out with some kind of new technology. Like this is a pretty substantial move higher. I know the market moved pretty higher, but Garmin moved really well the last week or so. That is looking for a potential higher highs, but again, be mindful of, again, support is going to come around 84, and it really needs to kind of start breaking out. This is actually pretty ripe to do a fib retracement here. Again, this is really strong looking at the 61.8 percentile move from the swing high to swing low has been broken, which is good. So the potential next target would be the 8 percentile move, and that would be around the 96-ish level for a potential move higher. This move can still continue to climb higher. They just need to get some better navigation. See what I did there? To get to that level. Again, these moving averages are at a very steep angle looking for a very high momentum move. It did just come out of a pretty strong squeeze here, so these usually can last 7 to 8 days, and it didn't close below this one, but once this kind of closes below that the previous day's tick, or yeah, if it closes below the overall low or the high of that day, it could be a substantial downturn. By downturn, it's going to be moving to the next moving average or something like that. Something too crazy. Steve-O, did you see ZS after earnings? What do you think about ZS? Can they go? I don't know what ZS is. That Zynga? Zscaler. I know what these guys are. Another crazy internet play. This thing, this is a rocket ship. This is a SpaceX 9 Merlin rockets going to the moon. This is a pretty substantial move here on earnings. Looking here, kind of breaking it down to the standard deviation moves. So this is with standard deviation moves, the green is 1, the purple or pink, depending on your color blindness, is 2, and the red is 3. Usually, if something bursts out of the atmosphere and goes into another galaxy, which is the 3 to 4 deviation, it has to kind of catch up. If it gets out of these little lines here, it kind of just starts going. These moving averages kind of need to catch up. It could just continue trading sideways up here, or it can come back down to the 86 level. I'm not sure. This is going to be a very high momentum driven stock. You can see here on the amount of volume that came through, we're literally talking, I don't know, 7-8 times the average daily volume coming into this. So this could be some riping for those scalpers coming in the next week or so, next couple days, to kind of scalp this potentially. This is going to be pretty volatile, so I wouldn't. It's again, it's not my style of trading when something has such a big move. You were in it or you missed it, so that's the kind of way I look at it. Oh, something wrong with my mic? I'm sorry, Greg B. It's the same microphone. I maybe I've been kicking the cord every once in a while. It could be because I need to drink some water. I've been talking for over an hour. Ryan, bro, you're going harder than Ricky right now. Ricky the other. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's a compliment. Thank you, my friend. Johnny, on CNF, it looks like we're hitting a support level of 219. Wondering what's your opinion on a year bull cycle? I'm asking. Sorry, maybe I missed it. CNF. It sounds like a financial company. CN Financial Holdings. We're hitting a support level for 2019. Wondering. I don't even know what this does. This is some like derivative or something. I don't want to touch this, dude. This is too scary for me. This is like a downward trend. Sorry, Johnny. It's a no. It's a no, Ghost Rider. Hello there. Can you check D, K, and G? Yes, we did that, but we'll do that again. D, K, and G. DraftKings. So DraftKings, as I said, we are looking. Hopefully, we'll see what happens with the overall market going higher tomorrow. We kind of really needed to see a break above 40 and close above it. This would be a nice significant push for it. I think this is going to be a heavy momentum-driven stock, and I think that the FOMO aspect hasn't kicked up yet, so I want to look this more at a 4-hour chart, and you can kind of see here it hit a high outside of normal trading hours, so it hit pre-market a $40 level. But we want to see volume kind of continue going in, the momentum going higher. The RSI is pretty much extremely high right now at the overbought level, and looking at a potential again, we'll see. This is going to be a very momentum-driven stock, so it needs to trade between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average to continue going higher, lack of better words. If it starts crashing down, the 35 right now or the 21 level is going to be pretty much keen on that. Hopefully that helped you, my friend. Greg B, PG. Procter Gamble. I think you can see it. I think you can see it right here, right? That's 16. Let's call it just 117. Lack of better words. You're a good guy, right? The 5 and 8 are trying to cross through it. This could be a nice little potential kick higher, but it really needs to break above that 17. Again, supports is going to be at 114. It looks like there's no earnings on the horizon or anything, but I do like this squeeze kind of building up here for a potential kick higher. We need the, okay, it looks like the momentum is time to go higher. RSI is flat, continue trying to curl higher, it looks like as well. Volume oscillator needs to kind of tune in here and get into, get some gas going here, take something, some kind of coffee here to get him up and going for a potential move higher there as well. Let's see here. Got a couple more left, guys. I'm going to do maybe 10 or 15 more minutes, and then we're going to call it a day. Or a night, sorry. Ryan, ACB. It's a cannabis stock, he says. Yeah, I don't want to touch it, sorry. That's been just trading sideways. Again, it popped up on some earnings, but now it's kind of coming lower. Could potentially see a bounce here at 12.35, but most likely could just cross through it because it's just been downtrending. Maybe, lack of better words, you could call this a base here. Pretty strong support around $8.66, but we'll see how that goes. I think it's just a really oversaturated market, to be quite honest. That's just my opinion. Do two more. How about another boomer stock, CBRL? Cracker Barrel. Oh, yeah, they're reporting this week too, aren't they? That they are. So Cracker Barrel is going to be. I don't know how they're doing it. Like, I would hate to be in the restaurant business right now. I feel anyone who is in the restaurant business, I pray for you. I hope the best for you. Whatever religion you are, I send my blessings that way. This is a really, for lack of better words, a shitty business to be in right now. People are struggling. That being said, looking here at a swing high to swing low here for Cracker Barrel, it needs to break above the 117 here. I want to see what they are projecting for earnings this week. Let's see here. They only have monthlies, so $15 for 20 days. Again, that's going to be kind of put it at, what's it at? 107. So $15 would be like 122, 123. So right below the 200 exponential moving average. I could see it. Again, this is going to be strictly tied to all the folks. The things are opening back up. People are actually going to go outside and travel for the summer. It's going to be heavily tied to that. So hopefully they're able to do something great there. DYX killing on AXP. Is that American Express? Credit cards are doing pretty well. As you can see here, it looks like it's a lot of overhead support here at the 200 exponential moving average, and again, support's going to be coming in around 89, but I want to give you a little bit of better support here. Yeah, I want to say around 91 would be the really strong level of support on the way down here for that. Again, it's on a 4-hour chart. it looked like it is really trying to break out again. This is going to be a lot tied to a lot of people being able to pay their credit cards. I know American Express is a little bit different than a Visa or MasterCard, but that being said, this kind of needs to start proving itself. The last 2 or 3 days with the overall banking industry hasn't been performing that well as well. It's just it's more heavily tied. I think if I read the report properly, that Amex or American Express is much more highly levered to travel. So with a lot of travel being cut down to zero nearly, this is cutting into a lot of their revenue. That being said, hopefully that makes sense for you. Oh wait, what the heck was that? Someone just sent me a super thing. What is that? Opinion on EST from Poised Dino. Hey, dude, thank you, man. That's awesome. You sent me $2. Really? You didn't have to do that. Shit, man, that made my night. Thanks, man. ESTC. Wow. Okay. I'm not sure what they do, but we can look at here at a fib. Here we can look here. We'll give you a nice little breakdown. There. Okay, it looks like from the swing high to swing low, it has broken above the 618 retracement, which is around the 78. Let's just call it 79 level. So we're going to do that here. Do that at or below for potential support, and then for the long, if you want to go to the bull case, want to go to the 89.98. Just call it 90 level basically for a potential move higher. It looks like earnings is coming out or are coming out on the 3rd, which is Wednesday, right? Wednesday, yeah. This is on the AM or PM, so it's after the market. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they do, but it looks pretty. They do search software. Okay, that's awesome. Wow, that is. It looks like a really strong stock. It has not been that far. Hasn't been trading that much. As you can see, it looks like a fairly new IPO as well. Kind of trading back to its early IPO days. Kind of want to say, kind of got the overall market depth here. It looks like it could potentially come back and being like considered a work from home stock as well. Hey Ryan, you said $2. What? Are you serious? I didn't know people could do that, honestly. Um, Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I really do. That's awesome, guys. That you guys appreciate this. It actually brings a small tear to my eye. Search software. I gotta look into this company. I don't. What kind of search software do they do? It seems interesting. Guys, thank you so much. This has been a true blessing doing these. I love doing these live chats with everyone here. I really want to do more of these. I just don't know on the best times to do them with my overall life and family, and just, you know, it takes a lot of time to do these and so forth. Ryan, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Too many indicators. I know, I get that a lot, but it works for me. Like all these indicators, looking for, they all work for me. I kind of made it a dumbed down version here with just some moving averages and some data here on the bottom, which I might go back to help people look at this and look at a better understanding. I do have someone asked a video of what I do for my charting setup. I know it is a little crazy in depth, but my brain is a little bit crazy brain, so it kind of just can focus on everything. I can just glance at a chart and tell you long or short opinion just on that kind of stuff. $5? What the heck, dude? Really? Dude, you're welcome, dude. I was just gonna answer your question without sending me $5, but really appreciate that, my friend. That's awesome. That is awesome. I really do appreciate that. DYC says I'm from the Netherlands. Wow, cool, dude. Awesome, dude. I got people from around the world watching. I'm sorry, I think I just missed Josh McDaniel. What is your opinion on selling short puts at open for VTIQ? They're dumping before Tuesday merger. Dumping? I don't know. Like I was in that stock. We bought in actually. Um, we actually sold out of it due to the fact I just typed it all wrong. It's getting late here. It's like this is the space shuttle right here. So this is looking for. We bought in. I think they had the CEO and some investor on like a CNBC lives or on the like the afternoon report or whatever they call it, the closing bell or something like that. And the guy was talking about this technology, and I was like, I kind of like it. Like they're talking about these new ways of trucking and kind of maybe kind of I'm really into the Tesla stuff too as well. So I was like, let me just put a couple shares into this and see what happens. And then matter of like a couple weeks later, it just took off, and I didn't really look at it because I just kind of put it away to see what happens. And I just started seeing like, oh my god, I'm up 2 or 3 times in the stock. Like, sure as bought calls, right? You know, famous last words. And I think we got out around like 30 or 32 or 33, and then it kind of came back down, kind of trading sideways. Looking here, support's going to be coming in here around $23 here at or below, with again the parabolic SAR dots, which are the purple lines here, purple dots, sorry, are continue trying to kind of. So what these kind of do, these kind of create a. So people always call these as like a wedge. So if you're thinking this as a wedge, with the overall moving averages coming in. So we can look at the 29, let's call it 23 level here, and this kind of coming in through. So if this is able to break past this downward sloping dots, it could be a potential further breakout. I'm not sure, Josh, about the overall understanding of the merger. I know that they're being acquired. Uh, Nicholas being acquired by them, I believe, right? That this it could be very. I don't know how many shares of each party is getting and so forth. Um, Again, if you're a long-term investor in this, you're basically in it or you're trying to get back into it. I would potentially like to see get back in this. Honestly, I just need to kind of do some more information. It was more of a whim of what I heard on that particular CNBC segment that got me interested in this stock. I did literally 15 minutes of Google searching and put in, I think like it was like 100. I think I did like $600-700 just initial position in this, and just kind of rode up, and it's been fantastic. Guys, I want to thank Ryan Poisdone. I think I pronounced that right. Thank you so much for sending me cash. It's awesome. I'm going to get myself a coffee. I appreciate that. I hope everyone else has a fantastic. Oh, Johnny Bravo. I mistyped CNF earlier. Will you look at FNN? Sorry. Okay. FNN. That's the last one, boys. Oh. FNF. Federal and National Financial. Okay, this looks better because this actually doesn't look like a completely downtrend stock that you sent me earlier. Kind of want to pull the fibs here. Yeah, you can see here some overall pressure here. We kind of needed a break above the 50% retracement. It is looking like it wants to kick higher. Momentum is going higher. RSI is fairly high as well. Volume oscillator is bouncing off. Again, it's trading pretty high due to the 5 and 8 exponential moving averages printing substantially higher above the 21. Again, this, not sure exactly what they do here. Sounds like some kind of bank to do with mortgages. I'm not sure. Looking for a potential move higher, without a doubt. With the overall move, again, if you're longer term on this, it looks like it really needs to break above 33 here. So that's the 21 on the weekly side. Kind of needs to trade above this for a potential move higher. Overall, Not sure exactly what this company does. Would like to look at more understanding the fundamentals to kind of give some incentivize or better overview so I know what I'm buying into if it's just some kind of other financial company. Looking fairly strong though, so looking here, look at that at or below basically a 21 here. Again, not sure exactly how long you've been in this here, Josh, but Josh McDaniel. Oh, wow, thank you, man. I got another, dude, this is awesome. Thank you guys so much for sending that those likes or the, the comment stuff. I really do appreciate that. Josh McDaniel, you got any requests or anything? You think SWCH will be a good long-term? SWC. Didn't we just do that one? I can't remember that. I don't even know what they do. What do they do here? What's SWCH? I've never heard of this. Long term, it looks like it's a fairly new IPO, right? It looks like it's trying to get. It looks like it was a pretty hyped IPO. It hit its high on the literally the day of its IPO or the week of the IPO at 25. Basically, it's just been falling down. Kind of made a very long V-shaped bottom here and just kind of trading sideways. Again, it's been holding to 21. Again, there's not that much data we have on here. It's basically 18, 19, and then up to 2020 currently for a potential move higher. I would like to look into what this company does, so I'm going to add it to my list here. I won't say I love the pattern, but I would potentially, if I like what they do, it would be fantastic. Oh, this is a tech company? Okay. What kind of tech, though? There's a lot of tech companies that I don't like Cisco. I'm just joking. I love Cisco. Their VPN's great. That being said, looking here, again, it's kind of been popping off here. It looks like it just had a previously an earnings report, nothing too crazy. Again, it's just been holding this 21 very beautifully. It has, the tails have crossed through it here a couple times, but it's just been holding, again, really trading above the 5 and 8 exponential moving average for a potential kick higher here. So for the downside, I would actually even give it to like 1750 here potentially. If it comes down here to start maybe a position if you want to do long term, so forth there. Josh Daniel, how do you feel about airlines? Airline companies, so how do I feel about them? I hope them the best. I hope them that they're able to recover, because I never want to see companies fail and go out of business and lay off a lot of people. Oh, they're data centers. Oh, definitely love that stock then. I love data centers. Depending how are they renting them out? Are they buying? What are they doing about those data centers? So okay, let's go back to Daniel McDaniel. So Josh. Airlines, I don't know. I don't have a favorite, honestly. They're all not created equal, but there are some better performers than others. As of right now, due to the overall crunch of travel and the restrictions, and people are not really want to spend money on vacations and things like that, I think that it is pretty much strained. So I like to look at the ETF jets for potential trading stuff. Again, looking for a potential move higher to 18, 19, or $20, basically $19.30 here. I'm not sure we're going to get that anytime soon due to the fact that there's been so much volatility, a lot of negativity with the airlines. Again, saying that XYZ is going to fail or whatever. It's basically looking at a potential just trading sideways and kind of sitting on your hands and waiting to see what happens. Also on alcohol, I don't know any alcohol stock ticker symbols off my top of my head. I know the ones that are performing fairly well or I hear a lot about and get from other people that I talk to offline is what's the one that just bought the Canopy, had bought a pretty large share in a Canopy company. DAL, Ryan, is a really good run company. I think, so we did own some DAL actually. So DAL and Southwest are one of my two favorite. Bud, okay, Bud, that's the one. That's Budweiser, right? So this looks pretty similar than like the airlines because it's just a very much business. I want to call it under fire. It's just being restructured in the sense of trying to figure out what they're going to be doing next. You got some calls on Bud, because because people just want to drink during the Constellation Brands, Johnny Bravo. That's it. What is the ticker symbol for Constellation Brands? But yeah, they just seem like they're under pressure here. I would call this a base, lack of better words. So anywhere around like the 43 to 45 level, if you want to create a starter position to get into this for potential move higher. Again, it has just kind of been beaten up. It hasn't. It kind of broke below the 200-day actually last year or last October, and it's kind of been trading sideways and then down even more from there. I'm not sure what's going on there. Um, but yeah, I don't. It's Bud is going to be a hard one. You can trade it. Maybe this could be a potential low here. I'm not sure. I'm going to kind of pull this out on a very long time frame. While we're trading at prices at 2010 level. Wow, that is crazy. Are they not? What's going? Has to be something due to there's no one going to the sports games without a doubt. So once sports games kick up and everything, this could be going higher. So I think that would be a pretty, I wouldn't say crazy understatement, but yeah. Josh, you're welcome, my friend. Thanks again for sending the cash. Really awesome. Really do appreciate it. I'm actually going to add Bud to my list. And then Constellation Brands, thank you for sharing that there. Um, who did that. Ryan, thank you. And Johnny brought it up. Constellation Brands is performing a little bit better because it's breaking above, it tried to break above the 200-day here. Kind of just continued trading above the 5 and 8. Needs to really break above the 176 again. I think I read, or listened to the CEO saying that they have beer supply for up 90 days. So if they literally stop their factories for 90 days, they have enough alcohol to serve their partners and the staff or the world for beer and alcohol for 90 days. I think this is the one that's a little bit more diversified than Bud, but we should be actually, I'll work on a video potentially on looking at these different alcohol brands. I'm actually going to go ahead and write that down here in my little trusty notepad, guys. Guys, on that note, my voice is about to go. I've been talking for over 90 minutes nonstop. I hopefully everyone learned something today and had a great time doing so. Again, thank you, Josh. I want to thank Ryan Poiston, I mispronounced that probably again, for sending the super chat thing, I think it's called. It came up on my YouTube chat window. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, this video will be going live probably after it renders out via YouTube, so you can look back and look at the different things we talked about. Again, if you have any comments, suggestions, and so forth, please let me know as well. And if you're interested in joining the wonderful Dyslexic Investor Discord, you just also in the link in the description. We also have a Patreon page there as well. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a wonderful evening and have a great week, and I'll be talking to everyone soon. Peace, guys.